your meeting.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Housing Opportunities Commission Development and Finance Committee meeting for January 24, 2025. This is our first meeting for 2025 of the committee. I'm Commissioner Jeff Merkowitz, and joining me today are Commissioners and Chair Roy Priest and our Chair Pro Tem and fellow committee member Robin Solomon. Also with us are President Chelsea Andrews and other HOC staff. Our first item on the agenda today is the approval of the minutes from December 20th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? You're on mute, Robin, but I noted an assent on second there, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. The only action item we have on our agenda today has to do with our scattered site properties and contracting a general contractor for the renovation of a number of those properties. And I will turn it over to President Andrews for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, the HLC team, and the public. We are excited about continuing our efforts to renovate our scattered sites across this county and in partnership with the county in terms of providing us with resources to do so. These are our developments where we're able to provide housing for some of our larger families in various locations and in need of significant capital improvement. I will turn it over to our real estate division led by Nihar Shah to provide further details in regards to this request.
Great. Thank you, President Andrews. For the record, my name is Nihar Shah, Vice President of Real Estate. And with me here are Kimberly King and Alan Goff, who will be presenting the ability to renovate an existing 18 units in our scattered site portfolio using the CIP funds. So I'll kick it up to Ellen.
Kimberly's going to present.
Could I ask you all to enlarge the print on the screen, please? Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Priest and the Development and Finance Committee. So we're here. We're basically to get approval to execute a contract for the 18 scattered sites units here today. We own over 1,600 scattered site units, over 250 HOA associations. The 18 units selected in this meeting, they haven't had any significant updates or undergone any renovations since acquisition. And so according to our current procurement policy, on October 15th, we issued an invitation to bid for the scattered site units, and we had the responses due by December 4th of 2024. The 18 units included 3 groups. The 18 units were broken down in 3 groups, giving the contractors the opportunity to bid on all 3 groups or the total batch. So upon receipt of 7 responses, we deemed that only 6 firms met the minimum qualifications. And so we are recommending that we select Bloom's Contracting, who submitted the lowest qualified bid for all 3 groups of units, and they met all the project requirements. HOC has not worked with Bloom's Contracting in the past, but we have checked their references, and they met with their project team to confirm their ability to perform this project in its entirety. Next slide, please. So the funding for this project would come from the Capital Improvement Program. There are multiple funding sources for the scattered sites. For this 18, we're going with the CIP program. In addition to the $1.25 million that we received for fiscal year 25. We have more funding that's carried over from prior fiscal years to help with funding this renovation project. So we're recommending that the Development and Finance Committee support our recommendation to the commission to approve the selected Bloom's contracting. They had the lowest qualified, responsive bid of all three groups. We're also requesting that the Development and Finance Committee support our recommendation to authorize the President, Executive Director to negotiate a contract with Bloom's with the total sum of $1,757,723. Next slide, please. Here are some of the locations of where the scattered sites are located throughout Montgomery County. As you can take a look on the map here. Next slide, please. So the general scope of work for the 18 units, it's going to be interior renovations, exterior renovations, upgrade to any mechanical, electrical, and plumbing fixtures and features in the home. All of our units, we like to use the same materials so that we keep the same look across the board. Next slide, please. Here are some examples of some of the units that we have renovated in the past. And this gives you an overall look of kind of what they look like today. Next slide, please. So our selection criteria. We required that the contractors that were bidding on this project have at least 5 years of experience, they're properly licensed in the state of Maryland, and that they could meet our insurance coverage or exceed it. They also had to make sure that they had the capacity to bond this project at 100%. So we had 6 qualified bidders, and Bloom's Contracting came in at number 1. The staff recommends the selection and award to contract for renovation, the 18 scattered site units to Bloom for all 3 groups. Next slide, please. So in summary, will the Development and Finance Committee join our recommendation to approve the selection of Bloom's Contracting for the general contractor of the 18 scattered site units and pursuant to IFB 2479, and authorize the President, Executive Director to negotiate and execute a contract with Bloom's for the total bid amount of $1,757,723. There's no physical impact to our 25 budget because we will be using CIP funding for the deeply subsidized unit renovations. As far as time frame, we're looking for a formal decision at the commission meeting set to take place on February 5th of 2025. In conclusion, staff is recommending approval to select Bloom's Contracting for the general contract for IFB 2479, and also authorize President Executive Director to negotiate and execute a contract with Bloom's for the total bid amount of $1,757,723. Thank you.
Kimberly, can you tell me what the time frame is for the start of construction and the period of time it's going to take to complete the renovation of these 18 units?
Yeah, sure. So we're looking at a 6-month duration for the completion of the 18 units. And then as far as the start date, we would like to get through the commission and hopefully have a March or April start of construction. Contracted, and it takes some time to get things contracted. So yeah, that's kind of the timeline we're looking for as far as starting.
I was curious what your goal is after construction's done. Are you going to try and sell the units or keep the units, do a habitat thing? What your thinking is?
These units, this is Ellen Goff for the record, I'm with real estate. These units will remain in the scattered sites portfolio for leasing. So they will be marketed for leasing in the affordable programs that they are in.
And the rents presumably would change from they're vacant now, isn't?
Correct. The rents are set typically at the program limits. Most of these have affordability restrictions. They should all have affordability restrictions, so they'll be set at the program levels for their AMIs.
These are all currently vacant.
Correct.
Yes.
Just
So
for my
we'll,
my own education,
we'll at least start bringing in some rental income again.
Yes, as soon as they're leased, our goal is to have the property management team begin to start finding eligible applicants, so that they're ready upon delivery.
I'm sorry, Robin, I cut you off.
oh, that's fine. I was interrupting you. Just for my own education, and maybe Jeff, what are the affordability restrictions on this portfolio? Just
So these 18 units are within various housing programs. This batch of units is in 9 different affordable programs. So some have are extended use in the tax credit program, and some are at MPDU levels.
you don't need to go through all 9. Thank you.
Will any of these have any accessibility features?
So we did a full review of our scattered site portfolio some years ago. Most of these units are townhomes or units with stairs. So they're really just like-kind replacements. It's very hard. We did make any units that we were able to make accessible in the scattered site portfolio as such, if they were on one level, but a majority of our portfolio are 3-bedroom townhomes or townhomes with stairs.
Yeah, well, I saw one of the pictures you had was split levels, so I know that would be difficult, but yeah.
After these 18 get done, how many more vacant units do you have in the portfolio that we will be scheduling for the similar kind of treatment?
I know that the property management team is doing a full review. There are a few more units. We will have a little bit more CIP money available to complete some additional units this year. But we do have other funding sources as well. So we are trying to make significant capital improvements on the vacant units as they turn. I would have to defer to property management for that number right now. I want to say there's probably going to be about at least 10 more that we're able to do under the current year's CIP funding.
Yeah, I was going to note the same thing, that we will have a fair amount left, so we should definitely try to keep moving and get these back in circulation as quickly as possible. So, are there any additional questions from the commissioners? If not, is there a motion to support the staff's recommendation and send this to the full commission?
Make that motion so Roy can second it.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If there are no other items at this time on our agenda.
Can I ask one thing?
Sure.
The onboarding process that I went through was really helpful. I thank you for the time that you took. It's also, it's a lot to absorb. Are we able to, would it be appropriate for us to sit in on some of the onboarding just to hear something? I'd love to hear more about the reserves because, but I don't want to get in the way of what you're thinking about for onboarding. I didn't know if it was appropriate to listen in without saying anything.
Well, absolutely.
And just to be
maybe
clear
we
to our
should
viewing
probably
public,
I was about to say, we can
you're-
close this meeting and then that's a housekeeping item and you can stay on and I can walk us through, but yes.
Okay. With that then, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.